And other times with all the things that were taking place, the way we describe situations as far as what should happen and what shouldn't happen wasn't really a requisite in the past. Um, for example, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, you would have you would have hold on. You would have like for example, um the distance in between where one family lived and the distance in between where a person had to go work, like a guy, he would end up probably having another family 10 miles down the road because it took so long just to get 10 miles. And you didn't have to worry about, somebody interfering with a situation that had to do with you or things coming to a detriment because it was so much turmoil. They would only look at the good things they had to deal with. They didn't care about the extra shit. So it wasn't like a mass amount of hoeing going around, like in between niggas and females. Like it wasn't a bunch of people just cheating. You know what I'm saying? Like it took place, but it wasn't considered that. It was more considered the ideal situation for whatever was going on. Sometimes you just had to be somewhere so you didn't die or get killed because it was so 10 miles was almost like 100 miles back then. So when we speak about, what should be done or how things should be according to what society opposes the attribute of quality or titles, those are only retrospects to domineering aspects that have nothing to do with the actuality. So people have a euphoric way of thinking and they start to imagine, and then they get in groups of conversations. You see it on billboards, you see it on TV, and then they say to themselves, that's what I'm going to do. Despite the rhetoric of how things actually came into fruition, if we were more mindful on how things are really played, nobody would say the things they say. You wouldn't hear females saying, I'm going to take advantage of many men until I find the one for me. Like, who the fuck would fuck with somebody like that? I don't give a damn how pretty your ass is. And what's happening is, for the most part, while all these choices are being made, each and every last one of these individuals who are in this world with this type of forthgoing way to where they're going to solidify a life for themselves with a counterpart, they're detrimentally taking themselves out of that position by their choices now. And every lesson has to be learned, whether you know you're going to learn it or not. You're going to learn it. Whether you want to hear that you're going to learn it or not, it's something that you're going to go through. It's something that you're going to have to get full understanding and the capability and the function of your mind. And until those things take place, it's going to be a downhill. And what happens when you have a mind so forthgoing without regard to the circumstances is you end up finding yourself in situations that you don't want to be. You end up finding things happen to you that you don't want to happen, and you end up losing things that you never thought you were going to lose. This information is telltale to a situation of self-control. We have to keep in mind, when things was going the way they were going in the past, it was forced self-control. People didn't want to lose their family. You was already, going through whatever you were going through. Medical situations wasn't as high quality as they are now. Jobs wasn't as available. Police didn't care like they don't now. They didn't care then, you know what I'm saying? Like, so just to walk down the street was a lot different back then. Or going to say, I'm going to get us something to eat or get us some food. It wasn't a normal grocery attribute. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's everybody just go to the store. Like, these things are taken for granted. And people don't see them, and they're just real nonchalant on love right now, like real nonchalant on how to handle it. And they're saying, like, you should be a slave if you want to be with me. Like, the retrospect of Slavic people is still haven't dawned on the ideal of what's actually taking place with individuals in this time. Like, people really believe that we were put here to work for other individuals, and if you're not doing that, then there's something wrong. That shows the weakness in the mind. And then to follow that pretense up the weakness of the mind. It shows the way you would choose to handle yourself as far as developing a family or your future. So this is where these retarded thoughts come from with female and men, and they say, well, you shouldn't care. Well, those are a certain group of people that's only going to last within their time. And for the most part, it's always going to be how you think. Don't get twisted up in the idea when people say nice guys finish last or the good girl gets done dirty. Don't follow up into those ideas. What you need to do with those ideas that you carry, if you are a good person, you're a good guy, you're a good girl, you need to not what's the word I'm looking for? You need to not put aside the way you are to receive what you need or what you want. It's just better if you stay where you are as far as how you handle yourself, but be more researchive when it comes to choosing the individual that you deal with. So therefore, you don't end up choosing an individual that's not going to reciprocate the energy that you're choosing to give. It's not about what you have. It's about the connection between two people. I've seen beautiful manifestations come out of nothing. And it has nothing to do with what you can bring with you physically. It has everything to do with how well we connect to one another. I did a startup video earlier and just giving you an idea of what we laugh at every day. People take these things as jokes. People say, well, oh, that girl is a bad bitch because she played her man and she constantly does this, or this guy is the man or the pimp because he constantly does this to females. You have to not look at that as subsequently the value of something good, because every energy runs out. And no matter what it is that you think you're accomplishing now in your glory, it's not going to be there soon. It's going to go away, and it's going to be a circumstance that's going to tear down every tower of understanding of how you see yourself in that present moment. So be mindful, because even the people who enjoy taking things out of the context of how they're supposed to be, they're in a detrimental mentality spot, and they're going to pay, whether they know it or not. Whether you're oblivious to your actions, you're going to pay for your actions, because they have to be set in an example. Like, the example has to be shown. So regardless if you know what you're doing or not, or you agree to it or don't, each action that you do, it has to be accounted for. These are the seeds you sow. So it will come to you, and it will be in a situation that you don't think is best for you. It's going to be in your most vulnerable time. So even trying to tell yourself, I'm not going to be vulnerable, I ain't worried about it happening to me, you're lying to yourself. Because there's not nobody on this plane of existence that's not going to actually deal with this. I can show you pictures of me when I was a younger man. You know what I'm saying? I was in my early 20s and teens. I thought I was the finest motherfucker on the planet. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have a problem in, getting a date or doing things that I want to do. Even though I was a little shy, I didn't have that problem. You see what I'm saying? And as you get older, you can't be nonchalant about what's good in your life. And I passed over things that was perfect for me that probably would have still been with me now if I had cherished it the right way. Lack thereof of the understanding that I have. So this is where my learning comes from. I learned from myself. I learned from the actions, and I said, you know what? I don't want that to happen again. This is appreciation, because everything happens by divine reason. If the divine doesn't allow it to happen, it's not going to happen for you. You're just going to miss out. So you got to understand what you're doing and what you're saying. And it's not about how you look to anybody. Like, if you really walking around caring about the clout or how people perceive you, you're very shallow. You're a very shallow individual. You're so shallow that eventually you're going to see you're worthless. And that's what it's going to come to. Like, everything that you use to push outward, to show everybody that you're something and not know that you were born something from the divine, is going to put you in a mentality of all that pressure that you're building for yourself is going to get taken away, and you're going to have to find out how to solidify that energy just with you. It's going to happen. Like, you're not going to have the crowds and the people and, hey, the cheering on. That's going to go out the window. And then you're going to have to find out how you're going to do that just with you, how you're going to love yourself and be your own crowd and be your own cheer on and pat your own self on the back. Like, it's going to come. Eventually, even the friends that laugh with you and agree to that, they're going to get tired of it. You know what I'm saying? They're going to try to outdo you. You're going to find yourself in situations to where, you know, everything you thought is real is backwards. You know what I'm saying? So if you can get this knowledge now, if you can get this understanding I'm trying to pass to you now, while you're in a young age, you're in your early 20s, your late teens, your early 30s or whatever, and you get it now, you won't find yourself lonely, hurting, in pain, embarrassed, whatever may happen to you because of your circumstance in the future. You'll save yourself. It's not about saving the moment. Fuck now. You know what I'm saying? Do what you need to do for every day. You know what I'm saying? Be the best person you can be for every day. If I sow seeds of me being right within myself, then that's what's going to come back to me in the future. It's going to be a situation that'll be right for me. So when you're doing things that are not right for you, you're sowing seeds that are going to bring things that are not right for you. Even if you get away with it, it's going to come back later and you're not going to get away with it. Because there's other people involved in the emotional contact of what you're doing and how you're serving the universe. So I ain't going to hold you because we passed 11 minutes, but I might drop another one in a little bit. You already know the vibes, man. It's NAGA.